The ignorant man is not free, because what confronts him is an alien world, something outside him and in the offing, on which he depends, without his having made this foreign world for himself, and therefore without being at home in it by himself as in something his own. Wickedness also resides in the gaze that perceives itself as innocent and surrounded by wickedness. The beginning of religion, more precisely its content, is the concept of religion itself, that God is the absolute truth, the truth of all things, and subjectively that religion alone is the absolutely true knowledge. To be independent of public opinion is the first formal condition of achieving anything great. Mark this well, you proud men of action, you are, after all, nothing but unconscious instruments of the men of thought. Truth in philosophy means that concept and external reality correspond. History in general is therefore the development of spirit in time, as nature is the development of the idea is space. Reading the morning newspaper is the realist's morning. One orients one's attitude toward the either by or by what the world is. The former gives as much security as the latter, in that one knows how one stands. The evident character of this defective cognition of which mathematics is proud, and on which it plumes itself before philosophy, rests solely on the poverty of its purpose and the defectiveness of its stuff, and is therefore of a kind that philosophy must spurn. History as the slaughter bench. Children are potentially free, and their life directly embodies nothing save potential freedom. Consequently, they are not things and cannot be the property either of their parents or others. Life has value only when it has something valuable as its object. No man is a hero to his valet de chambre. Be aware of limitations is already to be beyond them. The essence of the modern state is the union of the universal with the full freedom of the particular, and with the welfare of individuals. Before the end of time will be the end of history. Before the end of history will be the end of art. By nature man is not what he ought to be, only through a transforming process does he arrive at truth. Poetry is the universal art of the spirit which has become free in itself, and which is not tied down for its realization to external sensuous material. Instead, it launches out exclusively in the inner space and the inner time of ideas and feelings. The learner always begins by finding fault, but the scholar sees the positive merit in everything. Nothing great in the world was accomplished without passion. The force of mind is only as great as its expression, its depth only as deep as its power to expand and lose itself. A man who has work that suits him and a wife whom he loves has squared his accounts with life. Serious occupation is labor that has reference to some want. Science and knowledge, especially that of philosophy, came from the Arabs into the West. To make abstractions hold in reality is to destroy reality. Propounding peace and love without practical or institutional engagement is delusion, not virtue. It strikes everyone in beginning to form an acquaintance with the treasures of Indian literature that a land so rich in intellectual products, and those of the profoundest order of thought. Education is the art of making man ethical. An idea is always a generalization, and generalization is a property of thinking. To generalize means to think. The proofs of the existence of God are to such an extent fallen into discredit that they pass for something antiquated, belonging to days gone by. Amid the pressure of great events, a general principle gives no help. America is therefore the land of the future, where, in the ages that lie before us, the burden of the world's history shall reveal itself. The more certain our knowledge, the less we know. An individual piece only has meaning when it is seen as part of the whole. The one who merely flees is not yet free. In fleeing, he is still conditioned by that from which he flees. History is not the soil of happiness. The periods of happiness are blank pages in it. Education to independence demands that young people should be accustomed early to consult their own sense of propriety and their own reason. To regard study as mere receptivity and memory work is to have a most incomplete view of what instruction means. We do not need to be shoemakers to know if our shoes fit, and just as little have we any need to be professionals to acquire knowledge of matters of universal interest. The state is the absolute reality, and the individual himself has objective existence, truth, and morality only in his capacity as a member of the state. The substance, the essence, the spirit is freedom. When individuals and nations have once got in their heads the abstract concept of full-blown liberty, there is nothing like it in its uncontrollable strength. Regarding history as the slaughter bench at which the happiness of peoples, the wisdom of states, and the virtue of individuals have been victimized, the question involuntarily arises: to what principle, to what final aim these enormous sacrifices have been offered? To him who looks at the world rationally, the world looks rationally back. Too fair to worship, too divine to love. Uneducated people delight in argument and fault-finding, for it is easy to find fault, but difficult to recognize the good, and it's in a necessity. It is easier to discover a deficiency in individuals, in states, and in providence, than to see their real import and value. India has created a special momentum in world history as a country to be searched for knowledge. Art does not simply reveal God, it is one of the ways in which God reveals and thus actualizes himself. Every kind of falsehood and truth is present in public opinion, but it is the prerogative of the great man to discover the truth within it. He who expresses the will of his age, tells it what its will is, and accomplishes this will, is the great man of the age. As high as mind stands above nature, so high does the state stand above physical life. Man must therefore venerate the state as a secular deity. The march of God in the world, that is what the state is. The history of the world is none other than the progress of the consciousness of freedom. The state of man's mind, or the elementary phase of mind which he so far possesses, conforms precisely to the state of the world as he so far views it.